Welcome back to the Abandoned Post. Tonight we dive into 3 terrifying true horror stories from Reddit. These stories aren't just creepy, they're deeply unsettling. If you're listening alone, you've been warned. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and prepare for chills. Before we begin, where in the world are you listening from? Drop your location in the comments below. We love seeing how far the fear reaches. Story number 1. There's a boy who sits in the library every night. The librarian says he graduated 20 years ago. I work at a university library in Metro Manila. I'm a night shift assistant, mostly shelving books and closing up after students leave. It's quiet, peaceful, and I like the solitude. The library closes at 10 p.m., but I usually stay until midnight to finish tasks. About 3 months ago, I noticed a boy sitting in the far corner of the reading area every night. He wore a faded school uniform, white polo, navy pants, and a black backpack. He always sat at the same table, reading the same book. I assumed he was a student catching up on studies. One night, I approached him to remind him the library was closing. He didn't respond. He just kept reading. I thought maybe he had headphones on, but I didn't see any. When I got closer, he looked up at me. His eyes were dark, almost black, and his face was pale. He gave a slight nod and returned to his book. I felt a chill, but brushed it off. The next morning, I asked the head librarian, Mrs. Cruz, about the boy. She looked puzzled and said, "We don't have any students who match that description." I described him in detail. She went silent for a moment, then said, "That sounds like Miguel. He graduated 20 years ago." I laughed, thinking she was joking. She wasn't. She pulled out an old yearbook and showed me a photo. It was him, same face, same uniform. I felt my stomach drop. I started paying more attention. Every night, he was there. Same seat, same book. I tried to talk to him again, but he never responded. One night, I decided to take a closer look at the book he was reading. As I approached, he looked up and whispered, "Don't." His voice was cold, empty. I froze. He returned to his reading. I told Mrs. Cruz about it. She sighed and said, "Miguel was a brilliant student. He spent most of his time here. One night, he stayed late and never went home. They found him dead in the library the next morning. Heart attack, they said. He was only 22. I started researching his death. There were rumors. Some said he was obsessed with a particular book, one that wasn't in the catalog. Others claimed he was conducting some kind of ritual. I couldn't find any concrete information. One night, I decided to stay hidden after closing. I watched as the lights dimmed and the library emptied. At exactly 10:30 p.m., Miguel appeared. He walked in from the shadows, sat at his usual spot, and began reading. I approached quietly. As I got closer, I felt the temperature drop. My breath became visible. I reached out to touch his shoulder. He turned to me, eyes now completely black, and whispered, "Leave." I ran. Since then, I've seen him every night, always reading, always silent. I don't approach him anymore. I just do my job and leave. But sometimes I feel his eyes on me, watching, waiting. So, I don't know why he's still here. I don't want to know. But if you ever find yourself in the library late at night, and you see a boy reading alone, don't disturb him. He's not there for you. He's waiting for something, or someone, and he's been waiting for 20 years. Story number 2. If you shout in the gym at night, something shouts back 10 seconds later. I never believed in ghost stories. They were just tales to scare kids or entertain bored adults. But that changed when I took the night shift at our local gym. The gym was a 24-hour facility, but after midnight, it was practically deserted. Most nights, I was alone, save for the occasional insomniac or night owl. I didn't mind. The quiet was a welcome change from the daytime hustle. One night, around 2 a.m., I was restocking towels when I heard a faint shout echoing through the building. It sounded distant, but clear. "Hello." I paused, listening. 10 seconds later, I heard it again, louder this time. "Hello." But I hadn't responded. It was repeating itself. "Sir." I brushed it off as my imagination, or perhaps someone playing a prank. But the next night, it happened again. This time, I decided to test it. I stood in the middle of the gym and shouted, "Is anyone there?" 10 seconds passed. Then from the shadows, a voice mimicked mine. "Is anyone there?" But it wasn't an echo. It was distorted, almost mocking. I felt a chill run down my spine. I wasn't alone. I tried to rationalize it, thinking maybe the acoustics were playing tricks on me. But deep down, I knew something was off. Over the next few nights, the occurrences became more frequent. To no matter what I shouted, the voice would repeat it 10 seconds later, each time sounding more sinister. I started to dread my shifts, constantly looking over my shoulder. One night, I decided to record it. I set up my phone and shouted, "WHORU?" 10 seconds later, the voice responded, "WHORU?" But when I played back the recording, there was nothing, just silence. I confided in a co-worker, hoping for some explanation. He looked pale and told me about a former employee named Emily, who had died in the gym years ago. She had been working the night shift when she was found dead, cause unknown. Since then, strange things had been reported, but no one took them seriously. I couldn't ignore it anymore. I started researching Emily, finding old articles and obituaries. Her photo sent shivers down my spine. She looked eerily familiar. I realized she resembled the distorted face I had glimpsed in the gym mirrors during those late-night shifts. I decided to confront whatever it was. I stood in the gym and shouted, "Emily, what do you want?" 10 seconds later, the voice responded, "You." The lights flickered, and the temperature dropped. I felt a presence behind me. I turned around, but no one was there. That was my last night at the gym. I couldn't take it anymore. I quit and never looked back. But sometimes, late at night, I hear echoes in my apartment, repeating my words 10 seconds later. I fear that whatever was in the gym has followed me. If you ever find yourself alone in a gym at night, and you hear an echo that shouldn't be there, don't try to communicate. Some echoes are better left unanswered. Story number 3. Our substitute teacher doesn't blink, and no one else notices. I never thought I'd be the one to write a story like this. I'm a rational person, grounded in science and logic. But what happened during my junior year at Westbrook High defies explanation. It started when our regular English teacher, Mrs. Thompson, went on maternity leave. She was replaced by a substitute named Mr. Grayson. From the moment he walked into the classroom, something felt off. He was tall and gaunt, with pale skin stretched tightly over his bones. His eyes were a piercing shade of gray, almost silver, and they never seemed to blink, not once. At first I thought I was imagining it. Maybe he blinked when I wasn't looking. But as days turned into weeks, I became certain Mr. Grayson didn't blink, ever. So I started observing him closely during class. He'd stand at the front, lecturing in a monotone voice, his unblinking eyes scanning the room. Even when students acted up or asked questions, his gaze remained steady. unflinching. I brought it up to my friends, but they dismissed my concerns. "You're overthinking it," they'd say. "Maybe he has dry eyes or something." But I knew it was more than that. One day I decided to test him. During class, I pretended to drop my pen and bent down to pick it up. I stayed down longer than necessary, watching him from under my desk. His eyes remained wide open, staring straight ahead, no blink. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing his unblinking eyes in my mind. I decided to do some research. I searched online for any information about Mr. Grayson, but found nothing. No social media profiles, no teaching credentials, nothing. It was as if he didn't exist. The next day, I approached the school office to ask about him. The secretary looked puzzled. "Mr. Grayson, we don't have a substitute by that name," I insisted, explaining that he had been teaching our English class for weeks. She checked the records and frowned. "According to our files, Mrs. Thompson's class has been covered by various substitutes, none named Grayson." I felt a chill run down my spine. How could that be? I returned to class, and there he was, standing at the front, eyes fixed on me. Had he overheard my conversation? His gaze seemed more intense, more penetrating. That night, I had a nightmare. I was alone in the classroom, and Mr. Grayson was standing over me, his eyes glowing with an eerie light. He whispered, "You shouldn't have looked into me." I woke up in a cold sweat. The following day, I noticed something even more disturbing. Students who had been in our class started acting strangely. They were quieter, more withdrawn, their eyes dull and lifeless. It was as if something had drained the vitality from them. I confided in my best friend, Sarah, who had also been in the class. She admitted feeling tired and disconnected lately. I told her about my suspicions regarding Mr. Grayson, and she agreed to help me investigate. We decided to stay after class one day, hiding in the supply closet to observe him. As the classroom emptied, we watched through the slats. Mr. Grayson stood motionless at the front, his eyes scanning the empty room. Then he did something unexpected. He opened his mouth wide, wider than humanly possible, and emitted a low guttural sound. The lights flickered, and the air grew cold. Sarah and I were terrified. We fled the school, vowing never to return. The next day, we learned that Mrs. Thompson had returned from maternity leave, and Mr. Grayson was gone. No one else seemed to remember him. It was as if he had never existed. To this day, I don't know what Mr. Grayson was. A ghost, a demon, something else entirely. All I know is that he was not human, and he is still out there, watching, waiting. If you ever encounter a teacher who doesn't blink, be cautious. They may not be who they appear to be. If you're still with us, congratulations. Not everyone makes it to the end. These stories stay with you, don't they? If you felt a chill, heard a sound, or glanced over your shoulder, don't worry, that's just how it starts. If you enjoyed these terrifying tales, like this video, subscribe for more nightmare fuel, and hit the bell so you never miss a scream. Sleep tight, or try to. We'll be watching, always.